In this tutorial, I will show you step by step how to install a business intelligence development environment. Let's see what we need for installation. We need basically 4 software components. First of all, we need the SQL Server for creating and developing databases. In order to do that, we also need a development tool for it. That's called a SQL Server Management Studio. Once we have installed those 2 software components, we want to work with data, and therefore we need to install a demo data database called the Microsoft Adventure Works. Next, we gonna install a reporting tool called Microsoft Power BI, which enables a lot of new visualizations and charting tools. Let's see how we install the SQL Server. You need to go to the following URL. You will also find this URL below this video. Once you open the page, you will see a developer and an express section. Please go to the developer section and click download now. Once the download completes, you just double click the exe file to launch the installer. The installer asks you then the type of installation. We can go for basic. Then we have to specify the folder for storing the installation files that the installer will download. Then click the install button. The installer starts downloading the installer package for a while. Once the download completes, open the folder that stores the installation package and double click the setup file. In there you just navigate to the installation page and click New SQL Server Standalone Installation. Then we have to specify the edition that you want to install. As introduced, we gonna select the Developer Edition. Click Next. Then we have to accept the licenses terms, and once you complete that, you can go for installation. One more thing, you can choose some features in here. I selected which one you have to use. In this case, we use the database engine services numbered with 1. Then we have to use the default instance for this SQL Server. And then we have to choose the server configuration. We choose mixed mode, and then you have to give a password for logging in to the SQL Server. As suggested here with number 4, you click add current user, so the currently used user will be using this login. Once you completed this one, all features will be installed and you are ready to go to the SQL Server Management Studio, step number 2. To interact with SQL Server, you need to install SQL Server Management Studio. The SQL Server Management Studio is a software for querying, designing and managing SQL Server on your local computer or in the cloud. It provides you with tools to configure, monitor, and administer SQL Server instances. Let's go to the website for downloading. You will find also this URL below the video. Once the download has finished, click the exe file and install the Management Studio. Then just wait for a few minutes while the installer sets up, and then you can go opening the SQL Server Management Studio. After you install the SQL Server Management Studio, you are able to connect to the SQL Server now. Let's see how to do that. I open the Management Studio and I have in this Object Explorer a Connect button. In here I can go to the database engine and choose a localhost for the server name and using the Windows authentication. I click Connect and now I'm connected to my local SQL Server database. Now we're gonna look into how to install some demo data using the AdventureWorks. Step number 3. We go to the AdventureWorks URL, which you also find below my video, and here you can choose between several different databases. We gonna use the database for the data warehousing workloads. It's called here DW. We can choose a different version. I go for the AdventureWorks DW 2019 and will download this one. Which is very interesting here is that how you can restore using the AdventureWorks to the SQL Server. It's a step-by-step explanation how you can restore your database in the SQL Server Management Studio. As suggested here, once you download the backup file, you go to the you connect to the SQL Server and then you go to the restore database to launch the restore database wizard. In there you can choose the backup file and choose what name it should use for restoring the database. Then you just have to go to OK, restore, and once you have done this, you are now able to query this AdventureWorks database. Let's see how it looks like. So I installed the AdventureWorks 2019, and when I go into I can have a look on all the different tables which have been restored from this backup file. In there you can query any table by a right click and then select top 1000 rows, and you get the content of this table. Great. So now we are at the final step, number 4. For downloading Power BI, you go to powerbi.microsoft.com and then you scroll down and you will find a download section in here. You click that and then it'll suggest you open the Microsoft Store, which will allow you to install the Microsoft Power BI desktop tool. Then just a normal setup file will open where you can choose the installation folder for Microsoft Power BI. Let's see how it looks like when you install Microsoft Power BI. Now I installed Power BI and I a lot of possibilities now to look into the data and make some nice visualization of it. Don't get confused, I've installed the German language one, but basically you can choose using the data connectors and then select the SQL Server. There you go at the local host and go to import mode or direct query. It's up to you. There's a major difference using this, but that's not for now. Then I can specify the credentials, how I want to connect to the database. And then I can choose what tables I want to look at. For example, the employee. I get a nice preview of the table. When it's fine for me, then I click loading the data, and Power BI will load this data into this file. Great, now it has been loading 290 rows, and I have here in the field section now the content of my database table. I can choose now by selecting individual columns the content. As you see, you have a lot of nice visualizations you can try out. Yeah, that has been all for software components you need for proper testing and developing business intelligence applications. If you have questions, let me know. Drop me a comment. I will answer you, and see you soon. Bye.